So I decided no words are going to be spoken, but I'm going to try to speak everything through my actions. And I wanted to create the feel like the audience, the viewer, is there too. So I want to activate as much of the senses as possible. And so I thought I would use like a lot of extreme close-ups, so you can see like just really good detail, whether it's like a plant that I'm eating or whatever I'm doing, just really close detail. Have the microphone really close so you get that sound, even that like a chewing sound. Get all of those details so you can really feel like you're there, especially when there's ambient sound, whether it's the wind and if there's rain. Oh, there's nothing like the sound of rain. It is so beautiful. The sound of water. Oh, I love that sound. So, or just walking through grass, just splashes of water. Just all of those. I just want to really emphasize the sound and then just really beautiful shots in a lot of different angles so you really get a good feel, and a lot of insert shots where I'm showing like if there's a particular animal or even a bug. Like I got in one recent video, you can see this, I don't know what kind of bug it is. It's a type of beetle, and I find it like around my adobe bricks, and he's like crawling under. I have the stove, is I made a rocket stove to cook on, and there's a couple bricks that are on top, and you see this beetle. He's crawling on. He's trying to escape the heat because the top of it gets really hot, and he's trying to find a place that's cool. He's looking around. He's just crawling around. And I have this really super close up. It's these little details that just add it just paints more of the picture. Rather than just seeing this wide angle of everything.
And so tell me, what's the shooting process like? Is it because it's a lot of angles? So, and you're shooting yourself. So, talk about that a little bit. Like, how do you?
That yeah, the shooting process is complicated. Well, it's not complicated. It's not complicated in the fact that I don't put really any too much effort before, like pre-production. It's all in my head. I used to in the beginning write things out, like the specific shots that I wanted to get, and now what I do is usually the day before I'm going to shoot, or even it might be just hours before, I start just thinking. I start envisioning. I'm viewing what this is going to look like. I'm seeing exactly what I want the end product to look like, and I'm envisioning the different shots. And so I get an idea, and I especially emphasize the beginning because once I get started, it just starts rolling. I don't
When
have to
you're
really
shooting.
think about it. I don't have to really think about it anymore. It's just like usually it's just like boom, boom. The ideas just come. Rarely do I stop and I'm like, oh, what should I do next? What should I do next? Usually it just starts rolling once I get going. So I really focus on, okay, what are the first shots that I'm going to get to first to establish a scene.
So, talk about the shooting and like how you get your ideas for the next shot list. So you don't have a shot list, but
Yeah, that's right. I don't actually make a shot list. In the beginning I did. I would kind of have an idea and I would write down and sometimes draw pictures of the shots that I wanted to get. It was so time consuming, and I had very little time, and so I kind of just started just on the fly, just going out there and shooting. Going totally unprepared was not a good idea, and so what I started doing is just thinking. It may be the day before or even just a few hours before that I'm planning to shoot. I would really visualize in my head. I would visualize the end product, what I want the audience to see. And I started thinking about that. And I would especially focus on what I do now is I focus on the first shots, how to get it started. Because normally when I get the ball rolling, it just kind of flows then after that. So I focus on the first opening shots, setting the scene, and in the very first scene of action. As long as I can get that, nail that down, then the rest goes well. And so I like to have several different angles, different shots, different focal lengths, and mix that all up. And it's come to, at first I would just shoot a lot of different angles and then see what I would use. And now I use almost every shot that I take. Every one is planned. Before like the next scene that I'm gonna do, okay, I'm gonna shoot this. Okay, shoot it like this, shoot the wide. Okay, again, then I'll get a couple of close-ups, and I love the close-ups. They really set it apart, and and then I'll edit those together this way. And then in the editing, there's some flexibility. Sometimes a shot may not, because I'm repeating the same action a few times, which can kind of make it a little complicated. So the order of close-ups versus wide angle can be important. So I focus on the most important shots, like the ones where I can't mess up, or I really don't want to mess up. Especially if I'm dealing like with fire, where I'm cooking or something. The fire has to be tended to, and it's very time consuming. And so I often have very little time to get the shots that I want. Like I've had the fire die out on me because I'm taking too much time getting these shots. And so that's the challenge. So I've got to move fast. And you're out in daylight. There's no artificial lighting, and so the time of day is important, and I got to make sure I have enough time. For instance, yesterday I was doing a shot. I was having all kinds of delays the whole day. There was just problems that were rising, and it was problems as simple as my sandal strap was breaking or something, and it was slowing me down because it was like 2.5 or 3 miles out that I ran down this trail that I was stopping at different places and shooting, and by the time I got to the end of the trail, which was at some waterfalls, the sun was setting, and I started to go back and run back. So the sun was setting. I was losing the light. I had to hurry up and get the shots, and it wasn't even a beautiful sunset. It was gray, and I didn't get all the shots that I wanted. So I was a little disappointed with that. But that's how it happens. When you're dealing with conditions and an environment you can't control.
And so, what kind of gear are you carrying with you, like when you run out a mile out?
I have my backpack, a small backpack, measures about like this. It's like a green, looks like a military backpack. I carry my Nikon D7200, along with 3 lenses. I have a 100 millimeter, I think a Tokina telephoto lens. It's a macro. I'm not good with the text and specs on my equipment. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I have a cheap 35 millimeter Nikon camera or Nikkor lens, and I have a 11 to 16 millimeter. Is it Tokina or Tamron? I think Tamron. I've had my lenses for quite some time. They're all, well, actually my 35 millimeter, it took a plunge. It fell on some rocks one day, and it's all got specks of dirt inside of it. It's all messed up, but I still use it. And then for my sound, I have the Zoom H4n. And I really like using that. Now it makes it a little hard in the editing because I got to match up the video and audio. So that just doing that takes me like 1 to 2 hours in the editing room. You
haven't used pluralize?
No, what is that?
It detects waveforms and it lines it up.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm such a non-tech guy. I don't even really look for this kind of stuff, and because I'm always working alone. I never learn about this stuff. So thank you. This could save me tons of time because I've been doing this manually with all my clips, and I usually have like 25 sound clips, 30 sound clips, and 30, 40 video clips on each video.
Another thing I do is I yell out the file name on here. Like it's so you're kind of close. So at the very beginning of the Zoom, you'll hear the 3467. You're like, so immediately you're not going through a bunch of stuff. So.
Right, yeah. You can match that part up faster.
So this is actually a great point. You've got this $200 lens. You got these guys with red cameras with $100,000, $200,000 worth of equipment. But here you are. Talk about your subscription. How many subscribers were?
Oh, it's been phenomenal in recent. This year has been incredible. Like I said, I got very excited when I got 1,000 subscribers. That was like 2 years ago, and it slowly increased, and I was feeling kind of good. I was feeling really good, and then.
What were the milestones you hit where you're like, wow, I can't believe I hit 10,000?
I was so excited when I got to 10,000 then. And I remember seeing this other guy's video a couple years ago. It was like this guy does like survival stuff and very basic video, the show and tell where he's showing how to make fire and he's talking and he has a nice smile, he seems like a nice guy and stuff, nothing spectacular about the video production at all, just very simple. And he did a video where he thanked his subscribers for the 10,000 subscriber milestone he hit. And I remember seeing that video a couple years ago and going, gosh, I wish if I could get 10,000, that'd be so incredible. That'd be awesome. And so that was like one of my big goal.
So let's back up. So there is a certain value to subscribers. Like YouTube will not allow you to monetize if you have under 1,000. Like, are there any other milestones? Like...
That's a new law. When I first started, when my channel was first monetized, that was before that rule came into effect. And so I was actually making some money. And when that rule went into effect was soon after I had 1,000. So I was already good on that. So I was very fortunate there. I have some friends that had small channels and they couldn't monetize anymore. They didn't have enough subscribers. So yeah, you had to have 1,000 subscribers. I think the rules still are 1,000 subscribers. Plus, you have to have a certain number of minutes watched in your channel.
25 hours or something per year.
25,000 or it's quite a lot. And so I had met all those milestones when that rule went into effect. So now for me, and it kind of worried me. I'm like, well, what if they put another one ahead? And I'm not gonna be on. At least I'm making a little bit of money, And it's weird making a little bit of money on doing something that you really enjoy, passionate about, no matter what it is. It's a really good, satisfying feeling. You feel really good, like, wow, I made this, and people are actually watching it, and they're paying me for it. It's wow. First, to establish a scene.
Cat.
Huh?
I can hear it.
No, I'm trying to contain her.
That's so funny.
She's...
Can you just put like a coyote in the background?
Yeah.
Or something?
That's what I was thinking about, trying to put like nature sounds in here.